Hi there, I'm Sean Osterlink, and this is Overcoming with ACT. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about something totally different. I'm going to be talking about signs of being a people pleaser, aka too nice. So, a book I like to reference when I'm working with people on building up assertiveness skills, working on boundaries and not being too people pleasing, is this book by a Dr. Aziz called Not Nice. When I read that book for the first time, I was like, I was blown away by it. It was great. I thought it was really insightful, and that it would be a great thing for clients who are struggling with those kind of areas. So I wanted to talk about some of the stuff from that book, maybe have a separate whole series on assertiveness. And so today I'm going to be talking about, he references in his book these 15 signs of being a people pleaser, or of being like too nice. And I think he calls it like being too approval seeking. And I thought I would lay those out in this video and talk about them. So I've got a handout that I made that references these things that I like to give to clients, and it's kind of, you could kind of self-assess with it. So I'm going to talk about those things. So I'm going to go through these. The first is, number one is avoiding saying no to others, and the fear that you will upset someone or that you'll be a bad person. And so you usually say yes to things. You say yes to too many things because you don't want to say no. You don't want to hurt feelings. And what happens is that this ends up building up more stress in your life, maybe more resentment, because you keep agreeing to things that you don't actually want to do, and you feel guilty if you're not doing them. And that's a common sign that the people pleasing is going on, and sometimes people don't realize just the extent that they're doing it. They've got this underlying sense of guilt going on in their mind and their psyche, because they are trying to please others, and yet there's a sense of not even in that not doing it enough, and so it drives even more guilt. But then it's also driving this resentment, because basically the people pleaser, the person who is too nice, is getting shrunk down. Their own needs are going down, and other people are being elevated, and their wants, needs are being elevated too often. Number two is hesitation. So waiting for like the right thing to say, or the right time to say it, and that results in not speaking as much as you otherwise would. You're holding back, feeling maybe like meek, you can't speak up, you're thinking, well, I gotta wait for the right timing, I have to have the right thing to say, and so it's keeping you from just jumping in, engaging in conversation, sharing your thoughts more freely. So you're ending up being more too reserved, because you're waiting for the right feeling, you're waiting for this certain rightness to come along, rather than just like plowing in there and sharing what you have to say or what you think. Number three is nervous laughter. And so maybe this being too quick to laugh at what somebody else is saying, even when it's not funny, laughing too quickly at things, laughing at inappropriate times, right? There can be that laughing when things actually are not that, it's not a context to laugh at. And so there's this nervousness there that you experience that comes out in laughter. So I'm just trying to think, as far as like people pleasing goes, there's that sense of maybe being on the spot, that fear of maybe being noticed or standing out, and yet that very thing happens. if that nervous laughter gets pulled out of you, so or gets triggered. Number 4 is difficulty with endings. So you have a difficulty ending things, ending conversations, ending friendships, ending romantic relationships. And so they end up being dragged out longer than intended. So you can't get away from a conversation because you don't want to end it. You don't want to come off as mean or as rude or be judged negatively in some way, or you can't bring yourself to end a relationship, to end a friendship. Maybe you just don't jive with somebody anymore, and you're really ready to be done, or maybe maybe that friendship has just come to that point where it's got to come to an end, or that relationship, but you're worried about how is this going to affect the other person, how might this trigger feelings of guilt, whatever it is. Like there's this anxiety around taking that step, and so there's the avoidance of confronting that, and then it just gets drawn out farther. So again, that you and what you want and need get shrunk down, and being excessively worried about how will this affect the other person, what are their feelings, and a sense of, and Aziz hits on this in his book, this sense of perceiving other people as fragile, because that becomes elevated, and so you're overly worried about how is this going to affect other people, and then that becomes exaggerated, and so it's a form of maybe catastrophizing, or maybe overgeneralizing, or all or nothing thinking, even maybe personalizing by seeing yourself inadvertently, really seeing yourself as perhaps more important than you actually are in this situation, that you're going to have more of an effect than you actually are going to have, which is kind of an unexpected kind of twist to the people pleasing, because often someone who is people pleasing is, well, they're shrinking down. They maybe got more of a meek or quiet kind of personality, and yet within that is some level of an overinflated sense of unintentional overinflated sense of one's own importance in there. So there's kind of like that irony or paradox to that, like that itself would probably trigger the people pleasing person to feel guilty to even recognize that they're thinking too much of their own impact, or from their own perspective, rather than really coming from other people's perspectives. Right? It's very anxiety turns attention towards the self, and so there's a lot of anxiety with people pleasing, and so it ends up being a self-focused thing, even though there's like this mask of being, and part of the problem is that so much attention is being sent outward to worrying about the other. Anyway, sidetrack, rabbit hole. Number 5 is being overly agreeable. And so smiling, nodding, just being very agreeable with others, regardless of what your actual opinion is, regardless of what your actual thoughts are. You don't want to be judged negatively. You don't want to be criticized. You don't want to be ostracized. You don't want to be rejected. And so that can bring out that's triggering fear. And so that brings out I need to just agree. I need to just smile and wave, and just nod, just be that agreeable person. And of course, like with a personality trait of like agreeableness, someone with that might be more inclined maybe to this people pleasing kind of thing. I don't know, that would just be my guess. And certainly in an age of fear of being like canceled or ostracized for views on subjects and political views, like that's probably as strong as ever to maybe in certain groups or in work or different settings to maybe just kind of agree to get along and worry about like what happens if I don't, what happens if I really say what I'm really feeling, really thinking, like what could the consequences of that be. So that could spark just even more anxiety around people pleasing. Um, Number 6, avoiding disagreement. So avoiding disagreeing with others, avoiding conflict with others, avoiding challenging others, stating alternative perspectives, and a common trait with people pleasing. You want to hold back what you're really thinking and feeling, because what if it upsets somebody? What if it offends somebody? What if somebody disagrees with it? What if somebody challenges it? Like, that just triggers fear, anxiety, uncertainty. That goes right into number 7, fear of judgment, being afraid of being judged by others, resulting in feeling nervous, hesitation over what to say or whether to speak, overthinking things. Maybe this could be overthinking a text, overthinking an email, overthinking even in conversation, or maybe even triggering like social anxiety, because it's that fear of judgment, that fear of what other people are thinking or how they're going to respond, is resulting in turning inward. The anxiety turns you inward into your head. What could go wrong? How might I be judged? How might I be attacked or rejected by the group or by my peers or by whoever? How might someone not respond well to this? And like one of the maybe like a core fear for the people pleaser is like, don't upset others. I'm afraid of upsetting others. Like, don't hurt feelings. Might be like one of the, like the things, one of like the primary rules, like a should rule or should not rule. I should not cause others to feel bad. I should not hurt others' feelings. I should basically suppress my own thoughts, wants, needs, in order to elevate that of others. I should basically take the suffering of keeping all this in, and I should not make anybody uncomfortable. So that's kind of like, if we were to identify some of the should rules around people pleasing, those would be some of the big ones. So moving on to number 8, there's a lot of overlap here, but fear of upsetting others. So often being afraid that others may be secretly angry with you or critical of you, that they, let's see, what did I write here? I think I've got like I think I miswrote something on this. Even though they seem to like you when you're together. Okay, I'm misreading that. Okay, so that this would be like, there could be the underlying worry of maybe you're worrying that someone is secretly angry at you or critical of you, and that maybe they're being kind to your face, that they seem like they like you, but actually you're still worrying like, but maybe I actually upset them. Maybe they're actually secretly angry, upset, annoyed, don't like me, but they're just not telling me. And that comes out of that place of, for the people pleaser, they may actually be having these real feelings for somebody else that they're either not expressing because they fear that, or maybe even the niceness is suppressing that. Maybe even that's being pushed into the unconscious. Like I have to like everybody. Of course I like them. Maybe like the real feelings of how much you might actually not like how you're being treated, or be annoyed by something, but it's not being expressed, and maybe you don't even think you have a right to express it. Maybe there's even the suppression going on internally of, well, I shouldn't have that thought. I shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't be mad at that person. I shouldn't have my own wants, needs, desires, opinions, thoughts. And so they're being suppressed, they're being shoved down, perhaps even into the unconscious. Might not even realize that you have it in there. And so it says that this can lead to a constant sense of uneasiness in the background, maybe a sense of that you've done something wrong, that you've upset someone. So that would be another sign of that people pleasing guilt, where there's just maybe this air of like, did I upset someone? Did I offend someone? Did I do something wrong? What are they thinking about me? Things like that just become this anxiety just rolling around in the brain, rumination that can just be there. Maybe if it's not in the forefront, it could be in the background. Okay, let's see. Number 9. Pressure to entertain. So you feel the pressure that you've got to keep a conversation going, say something funny, be really engaging, maybe have great stories, great adventures. Maybe you got to play something up. Maybe the far end of that might even be to like lie or make up stories, and feeling that pressure of being put on the spot. Like if there's silence or a moment that maybe there's a sense of awkward tension there, maybe that you have that feeling almost like you've got to be the host and you've got to be on. So again, that there's that pressure there that that you're like that center of attention. You need to make something happen. You need to make the entertainment happen. So that's another aspect of possible people pleasing, or attention seeking, or not attention seeking, approval seeking. So that desire to be approved of by others. Like those are two the same thing. I'm going to put that on the board. Actually, that to be excessively nice is approval seeking. Approval seeking, people pleasing is approval seeking. I need that approval from others or from certain people, or from most people, or from everyone. Even though that's not really realistic, and it doesn't really play out like that, because as you dig into this, then you find that there's actually people that you're not people pleasing with, and there are people that actually you might not even give a care about pleasing, and yet in other ways where that people pleasing stuff is really being triggered, and where you're anxious, then that can feel very strong, where you need to be kind of falling in line to seek that approval, whether it's in your social group and friends, or at work, or your family, or maybe it's like almost any situation that you're in. Number 10, second guessing yourself and conversational replays. So throat's dry. Throat gets dry from talking. So self-consciousness, self-doubt when you're having a conversation. You might be in your head during the conversation or interaction with people. You might already be replaying things in the conversation, but you're experiencing anxiety during it. You might be wishing or imagining that you could be something or someone better than you are, so there might be a sense of comparison there. But certainly after the interaction, you might be going back into your head, replaying it, thinking about it, going, oh my gosh, that was so embarrassing. Oh, I wish I hadn't said that. What if I offended someone? What if they might be thinking something about me? What if I said something wrong there? So going into that place of second guessing, really common with people who are approval seeking, people pleaser kind of people. That anxiety shows up either during or after, or both, or even the anxiety beforehand, the anticipation anxiety of I'm going to be in a social situation, and what if I mess up, and what are they going to be thinking, and how might this go wrong, and then maybe you're in it and experiencing that self-doubt and self-consciousness and fear of being on the spot and doing something wrong, and then afterwards you're becoming really critical and judging yourself and thinking about it. And likely the reality is that the things you're worrying about aren't even occurring in the minds of other people, and that it's very likely entirely in your own head. And even if there was something there that happened, even if you did happen to do the thing that was embarrassing, or say the thing that was wrong or offensive, or made some mistake, or whatever, even if there was something like that, how you could actually respond to it doesn't have to be through tons of rumination, self-doubt, self-criticism, and anxiety, right? It might be something where there's more of a stance of acceptance, like, you know what, I'm not going to be perfect all the time. Sometimes I'm going to mess up. Sometimes I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. Sometimes I'm going to say something that's a mistake or even offensive, and it might be something where maybe I even have to make a repair. Maybe I have to apologize. Maybe it's something where it's just agree to disagree, and maybe, well, they were offended, but you know what? I didn't mean it that way, or actually it's not something offensive to me, and we're just going to have to just disagree on that. Because my mission in life does not have to please you or everybody, and so something like that may need to be worked out, but that would be on the that might be a conversation we have in therapy, or that you might work out in a journal, self-reflecting. So just working on that. Number 11 is habitual apologies. So you're quick to apologize out of habit, even for minor transgressions. I can totally think of this one like it's so easy, just in kind of common etiquette in our culture. You bump into somebody or brush up against somebody, or maybe you're reaching for a door at the grocery store or something, for an item, and somebody else is there, and it's just really easy to just quickly say sorry, I'm sorry, something like that. Just throw out like the apology for things that are extremely minor things, or maybe that's something that maybe it's a minor transgression, maybe it's not even an apology at all, but just getting back to the point that for somebody who's a people pleaser, this habit of just jumping right to the I'm sorry, right to basically there's a problem, the problem's my fault, I'm to blame, and I need to say I'm sorry for it. And so it's this overtaking of responsibility. It's just jumping right to there's something wrong, must be my fault, I must apologize for that thing. And so again, even for small things, like the example I have here is to start speaking at the same time as someone else. So start speaking at the same time, I start speaking, you start speaking, and they go, oh, I'm sorry, right? And so there's like, for someone who's not a people pleaser, this might just be good etiquette, this might just be cultural etiquette. At the same time, for the person who is actually struggling in this area of people pleasing, too submissive, too meek, too anxiety and fear driven, then that's an area where actually the way to be growing would be to be moving against that, leaning into the fear, going, you know what, I'm not going to apologize for the little things. I'm not going to say I'm sorry for the little things, for the little transgressions or the non-transgressions. And so actually working to push back against that and stop taking responsibility or stop elevating these things to the place of needing to go to that apology, because it's just become this habitual thing that's just become too much, right? So number 12, submissive body language. So you demonstrate submissive body language, maybe in the way that you hold your head, maybe your head goes forward, leans down, maybe you kind of have a shrunken body language, maybe just kind of like maybe meek kind of body language, kind of getting smaller is what I think of. Submissive, be walking around with your head down, avoiding eye contact, maybe quiet tone of voice, maybe it's hard to speak up, right, just like voice, tone, body, all these things. So someone with people pleasing, that would be another sign, right, that you have this meek, shrunken, submissive kind of body language when you're going out into the world or when you're interacting with people, because there's this sense of fear, maybe even a sense of not wanting to be noticed, certainly not wanting to be scrutinized, not wanting to offend others. And so it's like shrink and don't be noticed, don't cause offense. It's like bloop. Get smaller and smaller. So that's number 12. Number 13 is putting others first. So having the habit of the strong habit of putting others' needs ahead of your own. We've already hit on this. But thinking it's selfish to do otherwise. And so again, this is in the context of someone who is driven by a lot of fear and anxiety around this, driven by overly strict rules of how they need to act and what is nice and what is not nice, how they need to be kind, and and the rules on that have become too strict. Okay, so as a Christian, it's like, okay, putting others first, that sounds nice, right? To do unto others as you would have them do to you. To sacrifice for others is like a Christian virtue, and so there's elements of this that are like, well, these can be good things. These can be for anybody who has a value of like, well, I want to put other people's first. Like, I want to elevate the needs of other people and be helpful to other people. If you don't have a people pleasing problem, then great and good for you. It's not causing you a problem. For the person who's overly approval seeking and people pleasing, this can be exacerbated by those values or maybe religious beliefs or moral beliefs or whatever that elevate. Well, I need to be putting other people above myself, but it's become this excessive thing. I need to do that every time. I don't have a right to say no. I don't have a right to my own needs. I don't have a right to go, I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. I don't have a right to say, here is what I do want, or to disagree or whatever. The person who's struggling with people pleasing feels like they can't do that it's wrong to do that. Maybe that it's morally wrong. Maybe that it's going against their religion or it's going against their values to actually put themselves first. And so it can be very difficult to go against that because it feels so strong. So it's gotten really out of place. It's not being done in a healthy way. It's not coming from a place of, I know my rights. I know I don't have to do this. I know I could say no. I have the strength to say no. And there's times where I could and do say no. In this case, I'm doing this voluntarily. I'm doing this because I want to. I'm doing this because I do want to sacrifice. The person who is people-pleasing, who's stuck in people-pleasing, goes, I have to put other people first. It's just what I have to do, and it's draining, and it can fuel this underlying resentment. Again, a resentment that they may even be going like, oh, I shouldn't even have that resentment. How wrong of me that I'm resenting that I'm doing things for other people. And so then there's that double layer of I'm doing things that I don't actually want to do, but I feel like I have to. And then I feel like I don't even have a right to feel annoyed or mad that I'm doing these things. So I shouldn't even have a right to my own emotions. So there's double trouble going on there. Number 14, we're almost done here. Not stating your desires. So again, there's overlap. We've hit on this. You rarely state what you want directly. You may suggest or imply something and hope that the other person detects it. You question your desires and think they might be too much or not worth asking. So you're talking yourself out of, I shouldn't ask for that. That's too much to ask of somebody. I shouldn't say it. It could be that kind of thing. Or, well, maybe if I just hint at it, maybe if I imply it, I hope that someone will see. I hope the other person will just see what I want. They'll just see my needs. They'll just be able to read my mind and know this, know what I'm thinking, know what I'm needing. I shouldn't have to say it, and it would be rude. It'd be hurtful to them in some way. I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't state my desires. Okay, that's what the people-pleasing person is experiencing. And then number 15, the last one, is attempting to fit in and impress others. So trying to kind of shape yourself to fit into other groups, pretending you have interests in topics or things that you're not actually really interested in, but you're pretending. Maybe you're trying to learn about something just for the sake of that group, but it's not actually something you're interested in, but you're doing it because you want to be seen a certain way. Maybe exaggerating your experience in things, exaggerating your wealth or your achievements. And so this can play with deception right here. or submitting to peer pressure, submitting for that desire to get the approval of the group. I need to like this thing. I need to espouse these thoughts, these values, these beliefs. I need to espouse this interest, maybe in this sport, this topic, whatever. I need to fit my person into this mold of whatever this thing is. These people, this group, whatever, are like this thing or express these kind of things. And so the fear is, if I don't do that too, if I disagree with them, if I don't like that, if I share the things that I like and that's different from what they like, or if I share my values or interests or beliefs that are different from theirs, then they're going to reject me. They're going to not like me. They're maybe going to be offended by me. I'm not going to get the approval and acceptance that I desire. And that feels, that feels very strong and sparks that anxiety, sparks that people pleasing. So, hey, those are these 15 things. If you want more of this stuff from from this, what am I going to say? I encourage people to read the book Not Nice. It's a fun book delving into the world of people pleasing. I think I'll do more videos in reference to that, and working on this assertiveness stuff. It's a topic I enjoy talking about and working with people on. And so if you'd like more of just what I was talking about today, then I suggest looking up Dr. Aziz and checking out his book. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's got stuff on YouTube too. I just haven't really looked into that. So anyway, thank you for showing up today. Maybe as you've watched this, maybe you've noticed some signs of people pleasing in yourself or others. And so I hope that's useful, and it gives you some maybe direction of where you want to go and where you want to grow. So again, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.